Hello, everybody, and welcome to Exercise Your Rights in the new format. First show of the season. Well, the new season, season 5. Oh my God, we're on season 5. And it's the first show in the new format. I think I said that already, but let's just get into this. One thing I do want to say is Happy New Year to everybody. And also, what are your New Year's resolutions? Now, asking that, I am going to say, I know I'm in the minority here because this is not an excuse to show you the cartoon that I started making. Lifelong dream, people. Sorry. Accident that I showed that. But you can go check that out in opportunities if you want to see my cartoon. But if I go down here to my poll that I keep, you will see that do you keep New Year's resolutions? 53% of you so far loathe the idea. I quote, loathe. 26% of you are just like flat no. So the 16% and the 5% of yes, that's me. I actually do like New Year's resolutions. I will show you my New Year's resolution. I will just toss this on you because you're a captive audience. So my New Year's resolutions. So one, I'm going to write a poetry collection based on this tarot deck by Benabel Wynn, the Spirit Keeper's tarot deck. She's okayed this with me. And so every day for the next 80 days, because she has 2 extra full cards, I'm going to be pulling a card in order and writing a poem about this and then publishing it for National Poetry Day or month. So, and today I got Dynasty, the Dynasty, which is, wow, you really can't see this, which is the 10 of orbs. And so, yes, that was a great way to start the new year. I like the idea of starting the new year with Dynasty. And then the second New Year's resolution, I only did 3, was, see this giant stack of paper here? This, also by Benabel Wynn. I swear she's not sponsoring this. It's my astrology course that I've meant to take forever, for probably 4 or 5 years. So I have that divided up to finish. And then, because that's not enough, I start out with such grand plans. I'm going to be learning the I Ching, which was the other thing I've been wanting to do. So I've divided it up. I've got my little plan. We'll see how well I'm doing. I'll actually report back next month so you guys can keep me honest. See if I really keep these resolutions. But I know that anybody who keeps resolutions, apparently we are in the loathed minority. But what are your New Year's resolutions? If you're going to make them, leave them in the comment. And now, with that, let us get into this. Now, just to preface a little bit of what we're doing, Exercise Your Rights. Like, where am I even? Exercise Your Rights started out last year, I believe on New Year's. It was at the beginning of the year. And it was a New Year's resolution to see what would happen. I wanted to get better at public speaking and being more comfortable on video because I really wasn't. I really hated being on video, but we all have to do this. And thank you, Mark Geyer, for being here for this New Year's show. And I am also pumped because Mark is one of the videos that we're going to be showing. So, by going back to my long story that I have my captive audience to hear, last year at this time, I started Exercise Your Rights, and the idea was just to really get more comfortable with being on video. And I kind of assumed nobody would ever watch it. Here we are. I think this is the episode 67 or something of these. We've interviewed, it started out as like, I don't know what this is. I just want to get on camera and get more comfortable. Hello, Anita. And speaking of people that are comfortable on camera, check out Anita's YouTube channel. She just interviewed me this last week and it was chaos. And I apologize for that still, AF Stewart. But yeah, so anyways, here I am. We're on beginning episode, I think 67, season 5. The format has completely changed. It went from I don't know what I'm doing to interviewing people. And we interviewed tons of people. And Alma Katsu was on, and AF Stewart, and Benabel Wynn was on. I can't remember all the other people. We just had a ton of interviews. Then that switched over to the HWA YouTube channel. I still will be doing interviews over there, just infrequently. And now we're in this format, and I'm doing the video shares so that I can share more people in a sustainable way, because honestly, doing all the interviews and schedules was killing me. And I'm a writer. I'm not really, this video person. And then the second thing I need to say is I haven't seen most of these. I actually have only seen one of these, and I've only seen it halfway. I've seen the beginning of every single one of them, but I let my assistant Linoff pick these so that it would be fair, because anybody who's submitted to Space and Time through me probably knows I have a really hard time saying no, because I love everything too much. So that's why I need to get first readers involved, and my assistant who watched all the videos and then selected the top 5, and then I really pushed it to 6. So I'm going to be seeing these along with you for the most part, other than just that little beginning. I really don't know what else to say except let's do this. I accept the mistakes I will invariably make. I'm just going to say that. And I think that I have to approach every creative project, which this is a creative project, like that, because mistakes will happen. And with that being said, let us get into the chaos, the creative chaos with Nicole M. See, there's that mistake already. Nicole M. Wolverton. And there is a reason that I am actually a writer and not a speaker, because I can barely talk most of the time. But so let's watch this. I'm excited. And let me know if you can't hear.
The mudflats twinkled with the light of a million stars above us in the darkest sky. Emma knelt beside a salty tributary. It ran in a sandy rut from shore to sea, or at least to the deeper and murkier water waiting to rush back over the sand when the tide came in. A trapped fish, a tiny pollock from its silver scales, wriggled furiously, its world suddenly narrowed to a barely wet gully. I can't believe you're leaving tomorrow, Emma said. Already the nights had turned colder. It was just September, but her purple skullcap was pulled down tight over her ears. Despite the chill, she insisted on going barefoot, as if encased in slick sealskin instead of human fragility. Her feet were pale, nearly blue. Asking if she wanted to put her shoes back on would be met with amusement, so I let her be. She didn't need my anxiety heaped over her, not when we had other things to worry about. I wasn't used to the abrupt turn of weather or the frozen low tides. My blood ran warm, and hers, apparently, ran icy. I was wrapped in wool and denim and fleece, head to toe, and none of it helped. I'd like you to stay, Jeannie, she said. Can't you stay? I was shivering, a chattering mess, and her request made it worse. Tourist season is over. I tried to keep my voice from shaking. My aunt's lease is up at the shop, and the landlord won't let us stay longer. It's the ice. Emma popped up and twirled along the seabed, hands upraised to the dark sky and toes ripping through the small stands of seawater. It was new moon, but the stars were bright enough to spotlight her dancing and dipping. The flame of her red hair bushing out of her hat was like a fireball tumbling above the sand. I watched her, stuffing down a well of longing. It would do me no good to want what I couldn't have. What about the ice? Homer's spit is so narrow, she said, as though that explained everything. When I didn't answer, she added, the winds blow pretty fierce over the road and up the shoreline, and with the waves coming so high so often, and the weather so cold from here on out, it doesn't take much to freeze the pipes and ice everything up. No one in town is willing to risk coming out this way. Well, no one except the fishermen. That's why the bar at the end of the spit stays open year round. They'll endure anything for a beer. The sound of my laugh echoed over the stands of long, flat rocks. They were usually hidden under water. The surfaces were still slick, algae clinging to the edges, refusing to let go, even for a second. I could understand the compulsion. Emma plucked something out of the sand and slid it into her pocket. I'll admit, there's not much to do in the off season. You'd be bored. Still, we'd make our own fun. Shake things up a little. She paused. It is the night to set your intentions, you know. The way she said it, intentions, it was like I'd never heard the word before. It is? It's new moon. Her voice was firm. She sounded so far away. A night for manifesting our desires. You sound like those people who go to boar-tide parties and full moon festivals. My aunt says things are like that are tourist schlock. The smile in Emma's voice was clear when she said, "Some of it is, but intention setting and manifesting are just the same as wishing or saying a prayer, and I wish for so much right now." So, like going to church? Church on the beach? Sure, we can think of it like that. Her bare feet struck wet sand and puddles, and suddenly she stood tall in front of me. I've learned some things. It's not quite like church, but it's not, I don't know, it's not like other things either. I would miss this when my aunt and I left. The way Emma talked in circles and didn't quite answer questions, yet still made me curious enough to want to know more. The way her hair looked in starlight, the way her words were so pretty in the night air. I'd be back on the East Coast in a week or so, far from Alaska, and there would be no one like her. So what is it like then? I asked, just to hear her speak. We live with nature. We live with the sea and the salmon and the moose and the kittiwakes and the bald eagles and otters, the whales. Or should I say, we are allowed to live with nature. It's different here. Here as in Homer, or here as in Alaska as a whole? Homer, I think, she said. But intention setting came long before there were gods to worship. It's just putting what you want out into the world and hoping it comes true. Manifesting our deepest desires.
Wow. Okay. Okay. That was, sorry, Nicole M. Wolverton. Sorry, Nicole, I cannot get that right. That was an excerpt from her short story, From Shore to Sea, published in the autumn 223 issue of The Colored Lens, which I have to go find the rest of that story now. Thank you, Lenoff. That was an awesome pick. I honestly, I told you I just saw the beginning of these, just each one a little clip, so I would have like a slight idea. I thought this was poetry the way it started. So when it turned into prose, I was as surprised as, well, I don't know if you expected poetry or not, but yeah, thank you. All right. I think that was a fantastic way to start. And thank you, Nicole, and her bio. And I believe a link to this is in the description. So let's see who we have next. Oh, yes. This is also one that I saw just a little bit in the beginning. I do know this is a poem, and I know this is Be Prepared. This is pretty excellent. This is, let me pull my notes up here so I've got it all correct. This is Pixie Bruner with Trigger Warning, Abridged for Audio. The music is Black, Abide, and Memory Splice. And it's from Memory Splice Down Tempo Mix. She actually made this herself, the music as well as the poetry, as well as the video. So this is video number 2, Pixie Bruner with Trigger Warning.
2024 soon, and we are all loaded guns. We are all landmines, careful where you tread. As if we are weapons and reality has become weaponized in all aspects. That a high could be a detonator and kill women and children in a grocery store produce department. From pronouns to isms, we are far beyond cosmically triggered. We are comically triggered. If you do not accept any isms, especially futurism, what about symbolism, realism, modernism? What about the we do not allow any ists? The postmodernist, impressionist, magical realist, surrealist, imagist? What about the futurist? Is everyone so frail, raw, and traumatized to be chic that reality must be a soft aesthetic and our minds anesthetized in 30-second increments with pop tunes to get through the day alive? Are our cores so overexposed and pulpy that now we must affix core to every trend or idea we rediscover, dust off and reimagine through rose-colored Barbie core lenses, because the harvest gold, avocado and russet, and Studio 4 sequins, ammo poppers and coke spoons burn our day's dyes. Normie core, fairy core, goth core, cottage core, gorp core. Everything must be cozy. Is it cute? Is it cozy? Can we make it so? How does it make me feel? Never mind if it didn't make you think. Fuck your thoughts, unless they come with prayers on the side, because we want to be swaddled in comfort, and we must feel good. We want it cozy and want it now. Soft boys, soft girls, soft focused, filtered everything. Promise us filters in real life and we'll buy the whatever. Sell us illusion as reality's too harsh. We are soft with rotted, sugared cores. What is your aesthetic? What trends to pass up? What trends to incorporate this season? What is eternal is never a trend. We are all landmines. Careful where you tread. You want trigger warnings to know what to expect. Here's one, the only one that works. Life is one big trigger warning. There is death, there is drugs, there is addiction, there is sex, there is eating disorders, there is mental illness, there is pain, there is abuse, there is sexual assault. There is heartbreak, there is cruelty, there is violence, there is war, there is hunger, there is stupidity. There are victims and there are survivors. There can be a choice. There is pain, there is suffering. There is also incredible joy and beauty. We should be born with cautions because life is a trigger warning. The only trigger warning I can give you is that we are all loaded guns. We are all hand grenades with the pin pulled ready to throw. Do not touch any of us, for at this point, all of us are toxic to someone, somehow, somewhere, for some reason. We are all landmines. Careful where you tread. Now we teach that mere ideas can trigger fight or flight. We must be sheltered for our own good, never to build a callus anywhere. We peel our feet regularly to baby feet, sensitive and never walked upon. A life desired, no in existence, a VR experience of life, a simulacra is enough. We are all landmines. Careful where you tread. The only trigger warning I can give you at this point the barrel away from you. Do not put your trigger in the guard unless you're willing to pull it. Pull the trigger towards you with even pressure. Do not shoot unless you are willing to face the myriad possible consequences. And never forget, some shootings are accidental.
Whew. All right. Well, as I was listening to that, I was like, shoot, I should have put a warning with Pixie's poetry, because it is always potent. Like, it's very rich and Pixie does not shy away from, I know Pixie personally, we just went through a class together, does not shy away. And I love that, because to me, that is what poetry should be. Disturbing. It should shake you up a little bit. Art is meant to change minds. So yeah, I can see why Lenoff picked that. And I love the music that went along with that. Yeah, really well done. So we've had prose, a really great story excerpt. Now we have poetry. And next up, let's see, we have, I believe, poetry and music in a song. And this is Amy Zoellers. Let me pull my notes up. Amy Zoellers with Pottery Anguish. And many of you will probably remember Amy from, she's my co-host for Cake and Hyperbole when we used to do that poetry show, which actually was a precursor to Exercise Your Rights, because that kind of broke the shell and everything. But yeah, so let's hear, and I know this is going to be very cheerful and lighten the mood a little bit. This is Amy Zoellers with Pottery Anguish.
No, that was right. I'm all lit up with pottery anguish. My teacher doesn't like me, I'm such a spaz. The clay throws me on the wheel, and hair trick gives me pottery angst and all that jazz. What the hell, hands are so reliable, forming pie crust and apple tart. Aerobics machinery and ballet dancing from my coordination of the apple cart. I'm all lit up with pottery anguish. My teacher's got no time for my crying jack. I collapse the clay on the wheel in despair, and I light a cigarette and take a drag. Thank you. I'm Amy Zoellers with Pottery Anguish.
Sorry. That was awesome. Thank you, Lida, for picking that. I actually know the poetry teacher she's talking about because for a little while we took pottery together. We took pottery together. I don't remember when, like the end of 2021, I believe. But yes, so I can't help but laugh at that with the Pottery Anguish. Thank you, Amy. That was awesome. I love where all of these videos are going. I didn't know how this format would work. I'm going to say I'm liking it. I like the variety, and I like seeing these videos for the first time with you, watching them together. So if you want to know more about anybody so far, we've got Pixie, we've got Nicole, and we've got Amy Zoellers. Their profiles and links should be in the description. And let's see who we have up next. We have, and this one is the one that I have actually seen. This is Laura Kester Duerrwaechter with Poet Obscura. And I am really, really excited about this one because there's a whole backstory to this. Oh my goodness, I did not share that. I am so sorry. I did not switch tabs. So sorry, you just saw a little bit of me dozing off for nothing. This is that video. Let me start this again. I blame Amy.
Close your eyes. There is no need to see the words playing before your focus. Once you are one with the darkness and your attention is drawn to the uncomfortable places, listen to my voice. I am the poet Obscura, within and without. I speak in a lexicon of riddles, existing within my imagination. Perpetual imprisonment, sensations and observations freely given. I am the poet Obscura, fluid in gender, and the disguise woven from memories and borrowed tapestries, tattered and frayed beyond repair. I am the poet Obscura, my words written in permanent marker, defacing the inner canal of your attentive ears. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
So I apologize. I forgot to tab over. First thing I need to remember about this is don't close my eyes when I'm listening, in case I miss people saying there's nothing playing. So I apologize about that. That was Laura Kester Duerrwaechter with Poet Obscura. That reminds me of one of those like meditative videos, which is, I guess, where I listened. Oh, I blame Laura. You told me to close my eyes at the beginning of that video. It's not me making errors, but yeah, that's what that reminds me of. Is like one of those meditative videos, but at the end of it, you kind of get this whole shock of be afraid, be very afraid. So again, going back to what I said, this is how I feel art should be. Whatever you're making, if it's a painting, if it's a poem, if it's prose, it should be a little bit disturbing. Shake some things up. Why do we want to be like everybody else? So I guess I should go back to I accept the mistakes I will invariably make, because that was one of them. So thank you. That again, bio and links in the description. Now we have Valerie Williams with A Mischief in Gordonsville. And let me make sure I actually share this tab this time. And don't close my eyes so that I can see if somebody is trying to tell me something in chat. And thank you guys for trying to let me know that nothing was playing. And this one, I'm pretty sure from the beginning that I watched, is prose again. So let's find out. Oops. And I forgot that I muted YouTube. Unmute site, and let's start that over. Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Okay. I accept the mistakes I will invariably make. All right, third time. This is Valerie Williams. I hear it.
Hi, I'm Val Williams. I'm going to read an excerpt from a short story called A Mischief in Gordonsville. This story appears in the anthology Dark Corners of the Old Dominion, a Virginia-based anthology, which is also a charity anthology supporting Scares That Care. To set up the story, the main character, Sergeant Bo Amberson, is a Confederate soldier who's been wounded and hospitalized. He's now recovered enough to help the matron of the hospital, Mrs. Millett, but not enough to be sent back to the front. The hospital itself is overrun with rats, which was a common problem back then. Amberson has met one of these rats and is strangely drawn to this creature. He's not quite sure why. He's met the animal once, and this opens where he's meeting the animal for a second time. Amberson returned to the storage room the following night. Finding it empty, he was about to leave when he heard the familiar scuttling and turned to see the rat once again perched on its haunches, watching him with a cool blue gaze that seemed oddly familiar. This time, Amberson waited until the rat had taken a couple of steps toward him before delivering a treat. The rat ran off with its bounty, but not before uttering a series of squeaks as if it were saying thank you. Over the next few weeks, Amberson and the rat became companions. He volunteered to set Mrs. Millett's traps in the areas his friend frequented, but then neglected to bait them. The animal appeared grateful for the intervention and even brought some of its brethren to visit on occasion. Since his arrival at the hospital, Amberson had been plagued by insomnia and, when he did sleep, was haunted by vivid nightmares of battle, particularly of Chancellorsville. One night, he bolted upright in his cot, drenched in sweat. The rat had the same light blue eyes as the great Stonewall Jackson. It was highly intelligent, more so than any other rat he'd ever encountered, and its posture at times was almost human. Could it be? Was it possible? He slipped out of bed and crept from closet to closet before finding the rat in the pantry. The rat paused its scavenging and looked up, its blue eyes reflecting the dim light of the moon streaming through the single high window. General? Amberson felt both foolish and hopeful. The rat bobbed its head and squeezed through a hole in the wall. A shaken Amberson returned to his cot, memories of the general spinning through his mind. Had the rat nodded in the affirmative? Or had he imagined it? Was he going mad? The following week saw an influx of patients, so he had little time to pursue his theory. But after a lighter than usual day, he slipped from his cot and silently searched for the rat. Finding it once again in the pantry, he crouched and whispered, "General Jackson?" The rat approached him, sat back on its haunches, and raised its left foreleg high in the air. Overcome by sudden dizziness, Amberson clutched a shelf for balance. General Jackson had once had a habit of making just such a motion. In fact, he had been injured in the left hand at the First Battle of Bull Run while holding his arm high. Amberson crouched and cupped his hands. The rat stepped into them. He lifted the creature until they were eye to eye. Tears blurred Amberson's vision. As a member of the 18th North Carolina Infantry, Sergeant Amberson was one of the sentries who'd been ordered to fire upon Jackson and his party as they returned to camp. A horrible case of mistaken identity. He had no way of knowing whether his bullet had led to the general's death. The rat ground its teeth rapidly, a sign of contentment. Could this also be a gesture of forgiveness? Amberson placed the creature back on the ground. It raised itself on its haunches, gave a final one-legged salute, and scuttled into the wall. The man dropped his face into his hands and sobbed. I hope that little taste was enough to tempt you to buy the anthology and support a good cause. You can find out more about my work at my website at valeriebwilliams.com. In 2024, I have 2 more short stories coming out in anthologies, one in the first quarter and one in the third quarter. I also have my debut novel called A Vanishing Twin coming out from Crossroad Press, and it is a supernatural thriller, and I hope you'll keep your eye out for that. Thanks for listening.
Oops. Awesome. Yes. No, I definitely will keep an eye out for that. That was really good. I know why Linoff included that, besides it being a good story, because I love animals of all kinds, but especially the ones that people tend to not like rats and spiders and snakes and lizards. I think they get a bad rap that's undeserved. So I especially love that it was a rat in the story. And yeah, what an interesting idea that the rat would be like a reincarnated general. So yes, I am going to go get that story, Valerie, and you can read Valerie's bio and the links that she gave me in the description to this. And now I think we're on our final one. We're on our final video, which is Mark Geyer. And again, I think this is prose because I did listen to the beginning of it. The rules were I wasn't going to listen to any of these, but I have cheated just a little bit just to get a little tiny taste because I've been very excited about this. So the final one is Mark Geyer, who I know is watching right now. So I'm going to re-show his comment and also make sure I show the proper tab. And I am also pumped, Mark, to see this. So, all right, I think this is prose. It might shock me if it turns into either poetry or song partway through, but I should pull my notes up so I can read this properly. This is Mark Geyer with Phantom Delivery Excerpt and our final video this month on Exercise Your Rights. After he's done, I'll tell you how to submit your videos for the next month. And let's listen. Unmute. Pull this up.
Hi, my name's Dustin. I write fiction under the name Mark Geyer, and I tried to read the entirety of the first chapter of my book, which is fairly short, but it still runs about 7 minutes. So instead, I've decided to pick a chunk from the third chapter. Just a little setup here. The book is about a woman named Harper who's in her late 30s and really disillusioned with life. She's got a boyfriend who's going nowhere. She's got a mom who just treats her like garbage. She's got a job that's going nowhere. She's not happy. And like myself and a lot of people, when we're not happy, we dive into the familiar. and she starts to read her favorite horror series from when she was a tween called Dead Mares. Think Fear Street or Point Horror. Instead of just escaping mentally into the book, she winds up being transported literally into the book. The very first book, titled Phantom Delivery, where she is inside the mind and body of the main character of that book, Patricia Weaver. By this point in the third chapter, she's kind of accepted her situation. She's not quite sure what to do with it yet, but she's going to just play it by ear. She gets a call from someone who she thinks is the antagonist of the book. Turns out to be the main character's boyfriend, and their conversation isn't what she remembered it being in the book, which sort of puts her into a panic where maybe she didn't remember the book as well as she thought, or maybe the book is changing. And that's where we pick up. Harper's head was teetering between presence and foreboding. It was disorienting. She told Marlene that she was exhausted and wanted to sleep. In bed, she stared at the crooked New Kids on the Block poster hanging on the wall next to Patricia's desk. Although it was mentioned in the book, the author, A.X. Carver, a pseudonym for a rotating team of unpaid ghostwriters, never said that it was crooked, nor was the torn-off corner addressed. Or was it? What else don't I remember? She wondered in the dark. Her thoughts turned down to dark corners where monsters waited. What if I forget something huge and it kills me? She fell asleep just before 1. From what she remembered, Patricia had a dream about Ted showing up to take her on a date, only to reveal he was secretly the phantom driver, and that he had a skull for a face with living eyes looking out from bony sockets. Harper's dream was nothing so EC Comics. Instead, she dreamed of home. In the dream, she was showing someone around her apartment she rented with Topher. Only every room she went to was wrong. She opened the door to the master bedroom, only to find the bathroom. The kitchen was where the closet should be, and the basement was nowhere to be found. She apologized, and the person said, "It's okay. Things change when we're not looking." That's when she realized she had no idea who this person was. They had followed her through her entire house, and she never even looked at them. They were nothing more than a human shape existing in her periphery. When she turned to look at them, the clock radio on Patricia's desk burst to life with Cher singing about all the things she would do if only she was capable of turning back time. Harper didn't sit up in a cold sweat. She didn't call out for help. She simply opened her eyes and thought, I have to get out of here. So yeah, the book is a straight up tribute to Fear Street and Point Horror and some of the works of Lois Duncan, which as a kid growing up with undiagnosed ADHD were the only books that could really hold my attention long enough for me to finish them. I wanted to pay tribute to that. And I also wanted to explore the darker side of nostalgia and the ways that it can help us and hinder us. Also that idea of the past being so much greater. She thinks it's great to be alive in this fictional version of 1989 where she loves all the music and movies and fashion, but there's something much darker going on that she doesn't understand. The book goes to some weird, wacky places and people seem to enjoy it. I hope you do too.
I did, and I apologize about the chupacabra that has normally not barked in an entire year and has just started to do that. But I really, really like where that was going. Really good descriptions. Yeah, I think I kind of got lost a little bit in that. And then when the dog started barking, it scared me. And I was confused momentarily, trying to figure out where the heck I was, because I was not in this book, actually. But yeah, very, very good. That should be, the link to that should be in the description. And I am also going to go ahead. No, wait. I do have that in my Kindle. I think I just got that, and it's in my reading list, and I haven't had a chance to actually read it yet. So now I think that just made the top of my reading list. I'm actually checking now. Hello, Chupacabra. Thank you for all the barking. Yeah, Phantom Delivery is in my Kindle right now. So sweet. I know what I'm doing after this show. But if you would like to do submit your own video, I'm going to call up how to do exactly that, because that was our 5 videos, which I guess I should recap. We had Nicole M. Wolverton with okay. I'm glad I said I was a writer and not a speaker. Okay, let's try that again. Nicole M. Wolverton with From Shore to Sea. We have Pixie Bruner with Trigger Warning, which was abridged for audio. She also did the audio, the music. We had Amy Zoellers with Pottery Anguish, who also played music. So I see a trend here. I might see some things that Linoff likes. And we had Laura Kester Duerrwaechter with Poet Obscura, twice because I forgot to actually share the screen the first time. Valerie Williams with A Mischief in Gordonsville, yay rats. And we finished off with Mark Geyer with Phantom Delivery Excerpt. I have Phantom Delivery in my Kindle, well, I should say my e-reader, it's a phone, with Kindle software right now. So I can finish that. And so we should be looking at how you can submit your video for next month. I'll be doing this again on the 1st of the month, every month for the 2024. And submissions open up on the 7th of the month, which is next week, this Saturday, I think. So if you go to spaceandtime.net, go to submissions, podcast submissions, boom, there's all the things you need to know. It starts out on the 7th. This is actually needing to be updated. It's a little behind from the holidays. It'll be January 7th to the 14th, and that is going to be for the February 1st show. Videos should be no more than 5 minutes in length. If you go a little bit over, because I heard what you said, Dustin, about the 7 minutes, I'm not going to be like a strict person on that. I mean, I guess I'm not selecting the videos, but yeah, it's all right. Nobody's like sitting there with a stopwatch. It's just mostly to keep them so we don't go over, which we are over right now because I selected an extra video. You're welcome to introduce yourself and promote your own work. Valerie did a really great job of that. So did you, Dustin. Everybody did, actually, I think. Video should be recorded in horizontal format. So if you're using your phone like this, not that, and uploaded to whatever video sharing platform you do. We had Google links shared. We had some YouTube unlisted shared. That's fine. Just so that I don't have to download 10 million videos at some point, or I'm sorry, Linoff doesn't have to download 10 million videos, and then I have to download 5-ish videos into my computer to watch these. It can be published or unpublished. It can be poetry, prose, or nonfiction. I'd actually like to see some nonfiction. Authors, which is you actually don't even have to be an author, but you can read your work or have somebody else read it. If you're doing a song, if you're a musician, that is fine. If you want to do something creative, like some kind of visual art mashup, I would love that. Be as creative as you can. Which is be creative. Readings, animations, photography, however you want to make this video, do this. There are, other than anything that's going to promote hate or, trigger people in a really negative way, feel free. Let's do it. But also, Linoff is watching out for that kind of stuff. By submitting a video, you grant me a one-time non-exclusive right to share on this channel here for entertainment purposes. I'll never sell it or anything, of course. And you are free to do whatever you want with the video from this moment on or even before. And copyright and ownership, of course, remain with you, the creator. And you're welcome to reuse. I'm just rehashing what I just said. Reuse your video as you wish, when you wish. And just make sure you have full rights to any music or anything you put in the video, because we don't want to infringe upon anybody's copyright. And there's a list of videos that I love that have been submitted to me in past things like this. So you can go over here, spaceandtime.net, the podcast submissions tab, and you will find all the information, wrong tab, that you can possibly do it. And as I come back into the studio to see comments, Mark Geyer says, your dog is my biggest fan. Yes, and Anita's probably right now going, oh my God, it's that Chupacabra again, because he played havoc with our last video interview. So maybe next month, I'll have like a Chupacabra cam so we can see what is the Chupacabra doing. He has a den under my desk. So my office is dedicated to the Chupacabra. There's so many Chupacabra hidey holes. So really, I asked for it. But yes, not only is he your biggest fan, but I am also your biggest fan, because that was awesome. And I'm about to go find out what happens. So I hope you like the show. Sorry, it did go a little bit over. I'm trying to aim for 30 minutes, but I also have a really hard time saying no to poetry and prose and awesome videos, of which we had today. I hope you guys will submit some work. I am going to try to not reuse the same people over and over to give everybody a chance. And again, that's a Linoff thing, but he knows that. We want to try to get as many authors and voices and creatives on here as possible, sharing your work so that people can get to know it. And with that, I guess that's all. I hope you guys have an awesome January. Go make some more awesome videos and send them to me. And I will see you next month. Bye. And hey, Happy New Year. And don't be a hater, because some of us do like to make New Year's resolutions. And don't beat yourself up if you don't keep them. Bye.